Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This video primarily comes from TikTok, and it's going over an issue that's starting to come about from what I've seen on YouTube about how people don't want to work anymore. I'm a Gen Xer. I was born in 78. I was on the very back end of Gen X, obviously. Gen X stopped in 1980, and that's when the Yers or whatever, and the Millennials and Gen Zers obviously came after. But the Gen Xers we're the ones who are known to work. We grew up during a time where there was no YouTube, no social media. There was no tutorials on how to get things done. We were just told to get it done by any means necessary. We give some duct tape, a couple of now letters, and caffeine, and we can build you a bridge because the work had to be done no matter what. And for what I'm seeing nowadays, I see all these young guys. I was even talking to my adult sons how they don't want to work, but they understand they have to work in order to be able to do the things they want, like buy computer parts, build up their cars, drag race, take girls out, all the other stuff. So they're reluctant to work, but they know they need it in order to do something that they want to do, you know? But without further ado, let's get into this video and see what they got to say.
I should have been selling whole! I should have been selling whole on the internet! I should have been selling whole!
Is she saying selling whole or selling whole? What?
I should have been selling whole! I should have been selling whole on the internet!
Oh, she's talking about selling whole, like her butthole or front hole. I think she's talking about like OnlyFans or something like that. OF.
I should have been selling whole! I'm working! I'm getting denied raises! And then when I get my raise, it's only 25 cents!
This is on some real shit, and I don't give a damn who get offended. I don't give a damn who don't like it because it's real shit. Yesterday was so many people that contacted me and said, I don't want to work. I want to be an entrepreneur. I don't want to work. I want to be an artist. I don't want to work. I'm chasing my dreams. I don't want to work because I see that it's happening for you. I don't want to work. I want to be rich. Let me tell you something, baby. And this is one of the most powerful messages that I have
It's
ever.
like they don't want to work, but how are you going to achieve anything if you don't want to work? You got to have money to make money.
Put out there,
That's
you
crazy.
have to work in order to be rich. Let me tell you something. I know a lot of times we get online and we get on social media and we get on TikTok and we get on Instagram and we get on Facebook and we see these platforms and it pollutes our mind, it pollutes our spirit, it pollutes our thoughts and make us feel like we're not good enough. We don't need to be at Burger King. We don't need to be at Waffle House. We don't need to be at Walmart. We don't need.
But the crazy thing is, those jobs that he's naming, those are some of the easier jobs to get. That's like a stepping stone, because those jobs can, because like even when I started out, I think it was like 16, got my first job at Pizza Inn. That's in Cedar Hill, Texas. So first job, making pizza, taking orders. It teaches you how to communicate with other people. Going to high school at the time, you know, you learn how to communicate amongst each other, how to get along. But when you start taking orders from actual adults, it teaches you how to talk to actual people in a more professional way. Although you may not like it, it shows you how to have some type of order, how to, conflict resolute and all the other stuff. And then from that job, you move on to something more professional, something bigger and more, responsibility. But what he's saying, the Pizza Huts, the Taco Bells, the McDonald's, that's just basic jobs. It just teaches you the basic things in order to, like I say, stepstone up to something grander, more grand, to ultimately land that dream job of making the most money you possibly can to be able to do whatever you want.
We don't need to be busting tables. We don't need to chase our nursing career. We don't need to be waking up in the morning working. We want to be on a yacht, fake shit. We want to wake up and go shopping, fake shit. We want to wake up and be living our best life. You have to work in order to eat. I tell people all the time, in order for you to be successful, sometimes you have to use your 9 to 5 in order to fund your dreams. You have to use your 9 to 5 in order to fund your nail company. You have to use your 9 to 5 in order to fund your muffin company. You have to use your 9 to 5 in order to fund your dreams. Stop looking at this fake shit online thinking that everybody is rich. I promise you that's not reality. And that's why a lot of times the person who you look up to is often sleeping on their friend's couch because
He's cooking though, because like a lot of people, especially like these millennials, Gen Zers, whatever, I don't know, whatever they're called, they see all this stuff on TikTok, Facebook, whatever, and they see that's what they want and they want to get it, but you don't know the history behind it. Like he says, like some of the people are sleeping on their best friends' couches because they can't afford to have their own place or to be able to, because they don't make enough to move into an apartment. Because a lot of these days, you gotta have 2.5 times rent, or here in Seattle where I'm at, you gotta have 3 times the amount of rent, in order to be able to get a place here, especially where I'm at in this building. So a lot of people don't understand that. So what they do is they fake the funk. They buy it, say like a Birkin, not even a real Birkin, it'd be a fake Birkin, or they borrow a friend's or whatever, and they take pictures with it. They put it back on the shelf. Or what they're doing also is going to Dubai, there's other countries, and they go for a weekend. Yeah, they may come back with 50 grand to 100 grand, but what did they do for that money for the whole weekend? Yeah, think about that stuff. And I've heard what they do, but I can't really say it because I don't want this video to get demonetized. But yeah, it's some very egregious stuff. Very, very egregious shit that they're doing. It's I'm gonna say defecation wise and worse. So yeah, you never know what somebody's doing in order to get what they got. People know that that's what they want, but they don't know how to go about getting it. It takes a lot of hard work. People just want the easiest way from point A to point Z. They don't understand that there's a point B, all the way to point Y before you can get that to that Z. So they want the quick 30 seconds, TikTok brain. They want it quick and easy.
Because they don't want to work. In order for you to reach a certain status in your life, you have to work. Bust those tables with pride. Get up and mop those floors with pride. Because guess what? All of that is the making of your story. In order for me to be at where I'm at in my life right now, I had to flip pizzas. I had to work at a carousel. I had to work with children. I had to work at a craft shop.
I had to work at Blockbuster. I had to work at Second Save. I had to work at Food Line. I had to work wash down at Six Flags overnight, washing the streets after the park closes. I've done those jobs. And then I said, fuck this, I'm joining the Army. And 20 years after that, I'm retired at the ripe old age of 38. And 7 years after that, or 8 years after that, actually, here I am, 47. So, yeah, chilling, not having to work, and start my own business. So, yeah, do whatever I want, whatever I want. So, it takes hard work at the beginning to get to where you want towards the middle, going towards the end. You got to have foresight, long-term thinking. You can't be just the here right now because it's not going to last.
I had to do those things in order to get me to where I'm at in my life right now. So whatever you're doing today, when you wake up in the morning, when you go to your job, when you go to Walmart, when you go to Target, when you go to Hardee's, when you go to Popeyes,
service
when you
with a
go
smile.
into these jobs, work your job with pride. Because I promise you your time is coming. You have to put in that work. You got to put in that grind. You got to be consistent. You got to keep pushing, and you have to work your job with pride.
I'm in love with the fact that no one wants to work anymore, because the truth is, there's no point to it other than the privilege of continuing to be alive so that you can keep going to work the next day.
That's not necessarily true. You work for the privilege to be able to afford the things that you eventually want. Gaining experience, gaining knowledge, using that to, if you have aspirations to create your own business, like what I did, or to do other things like buy that yacht, buy that house, start a family, go to school, or particular school, buy that particular car. You have to work towards that. You're not giving it like back in the day. Well, those who grew up with money, back in the day when I was younger, things cost less. So we didn't get paid that much. But like I said, we were able to afford more things. Nowadays, you got to put more work in to be able to get the stuff that you want. So it's a give and get. Yeah, it's a push and pull type of thing.
$75,000 a year in this country is a paycheck to paycheck wage. That means even up to the 75th percentile, and I actually think it's closer to like the 78th percentile, it is a paycheck to paycheck wage. No one is going to be able to afford a house unless they have someone that can help them, or they got very lucky. No one's going to be able to retire. There will be no Social Security. And we literally have these boomers and these elder Gen X talking about like, oh, nobody wants to work anymore.
It's true.
Back when they entered the work market, They could have access to vacations. They could have a stay-at-home spouse. They were able to put money away to retire. Like, no one in the modern era gets access to that.
You do. You just got to go. If you're going to school, you got to pick the jobs that's going to pay out more. You can't go to 4-year college and take up basket weaving and expect to be able to do the things that you want, like you see on TikTok, with a basket weaving degree. You know, I joined the military. I got a degree while I was in the military. Did 20 years in the military. Got out of the military. Got another degree in healthcare, and decided that I didn't want to do that. So now I chill, enjoy my retirement, make candles, about to actually create that into a bigger business. And here I am on YouTube, finally monetized, doing stuff. So you gotta build up in order to get what you want. You can't just get it right then and there.
And as such, they've realized the game is rigged. And like, hey, if they've got to play the game, they've got to play the game. But they're not going to buy into the bullshit excuses that the game gives. No way. No way on earth. So no, it is true. Nobody wants to work anymore because they've realized it's a total scheme.
On your For You page that I'm probably thinking just like you, and you might want to listen. Over and over, I keep hearing how nobody wants to work, and this younger generation's got no motivation. I'm going to let you be honest. It's not just the younger generation anymore. It's the boomers, it's the Gen Xers, it's the millennials. All of us are being exploited. It's not that we don't want to work. We're just tired of being abused. All of us had a job at one point in time that we absolutely loved. Good environment, good people. You felt good going into work every day. And then what happened? You got burned. If COVID has done anything for this generation, it's showed everybody, no matter how hard you work, you are replaceable. The old mindset of
That's COVID didn't take COVID to do that. Pretty much any job you go into, you're replaceable. You know, no matter what, like I said, no matter what career field, there's always somebody better, there's always somebody younger, there's always somebody more knowledgeable, like in the military. Well, specifically in the military, that's not the case. If you're doing the basic minimums and you don't ever get in trouble, you could pretty much stay in the entire 20 years and retire. That's if, you don't go to war, get deleted, or something like that happens. You could pretty much stay in. There's other jobs like that, but they're rare. Just even if you go out and do the best you can, be all the best you can be, the old army thing. Be all you can be, that whole thing. Doing that, you could keep that job. You won't be replaced. You have others that come in constantly, but other jobs like corporate, specifically AI, technology, or even like in assembly plants, like, cars, you're easily replaced because that machine has to keep going regardless. So take it for what it is. If you don't want to be replaced, go into a field that pretty much guarantees you're irreplaceable, like stem cell research, all other stuff where it's you or maybe a couple other people that know exactly what you can do, but that's for the entire country. So if you quit one job, you can immediately go into the next job in that same field and they'll hire you quickly. So if everybody got basket weaving degrees, you're a dime a dozen. Who cares? But if you got specific skills that people are looking for, they will pay you a lot just to get you.
hard work pays off, make yourself more important to the company than the machine you're working on, proved otherwise, because now they've got somebody running the same machines and doing the same thing you used to do. They got them doing it cheaper. We've all been passed over for promotions, or even better, told that you don't qualify for a promotion because, well, we can't afford to lose you. Thing that so many people leave out in the comments section is that it's not just black and white. It's not cut and dry. There are no rules to this magical chess game. If all we had to do is come in and go to work and just work, then you wouldn't hear anybody complaining now, would you? No, instead we're all walking around on eggshells knowing that any given time the company could just magically pull the rug out from underneath your feet, all while the company is demanding unwavering loyalty. And we're watching the same companies make record-breaking profits, all while everything else for us stays the same.
So I think I figured it out because something didn't sit right with me. People who are Gen Xers, millennials would say, this generation doesn't want to work. They don't want to work. But I'm thinking to myself, no logical-minded person.
Gen X, the
no
best
matter if
generation.
they're lazy, no matter what it is, they understand that you have to make you have to work in order to make money, or else you do stuff that's illegal, you rob a bank, you do other stuff, whatever. And I think I figured it out. People that are the generation up to like 25 years of age, they don't know how to work. And that's not an excuse. I'll make myself clear. That's not an excuse.
That seems
It's just
about
that
right.
they don't see customer service the way it used to be. Now, I'm 43. When I was in customer service, I still am, but it used to be the customer was always right, and that was wrong. That was wrong to say that, because that gave the customer a free card, a get out of jail for free card, where they could say anything they wanted to you, no matter how belligerent, no matter how, like, even if it was like borderline racist, they could say anything they wanted to you to get it off their chest, to make you feel, to project onto you, to make you feel like garbage. And they would still get their way, and you would still have to apologize to them, and you would still get in trouble.
Remember those days what she's talking about? Customers always right, which is bullshit. Because working at places like, Blockbuster or, Six Flags, where you're doing things and they have an issue, they want to come at you. It's not your problem, but you have to sit there and take it. But, you can, retaliate, fight back, but of course you're going to be out of a job. But this day, I don't know if you noticed, like a lot of people, when customer goes up to the employee, say like Wendy's, Starbucks, whatever the case is, and that customer starts getting belligerent to that person, you see that employee right back immediately, just the same, and nothing happens to them because the customer isn't always right these days compared to what she's talking about.
And that was wrong. Now, customer service has taken a very, very, very deep U-turn. No, not U-turn. It's taken a deep turn.
360, 180.
The opposite direction. Where it's kind of like, I don't owe you anything. I mean, you owe me what I want if you can. Example, I go to a chain store that has that does oil changes. I want to buy a $50 gift card. They advertise actual gift cards, not just e-cards. So I go in there and I'm like, hi, I'd just like to buy a $50 gift card. And they're looking at me. They start laughing. There's 3 men. One of them's the manager. The manager turns around and he's like, nope, I'm out. And I'm looking at the kid at the register and I'm like, you guys sell gift cards? He's like, we're contacting upper management because we don't know how to do that here. I get in my car, put on my seatbelt. The guy comes up to my window and says, hey, we sell those online. And I say, hey, it's a gift for an elderly gentleman who needs an actual gift card, who's not tech savvy. And he stares me down. So, hey, mama. So.
Okay. She's just getting on rambling about some story. Thought she's actually going to get into some real life stuff. But anyway, as we're saying, the gist of this video is this generation, they don't want to work compared to like the Gen X that I'm in, the baby boomers going back, because we believed in hard work. We believe in putting in to get something back. We put in, time, because we know given our time, we get money. People don't want to give time these days. They just want to get the money. They want the reward without the risk. And that ultimately goes nowhere. And they're going to end up more lost and confused than ever just because they're, like she was saying, they're going to start doing crime, robbing, stealing, whatever the case may be. You see it all the time. People going into, Lululemon or Home Depot, stealing products, trying to flip it and get money off of it. That's what they do. That's how they get their money these days. They're not willing to actually put in the work, hard work, man, and to get to something that's rewarding. They're not willing to do that. But let me know your thoughts on this whole people don't want to work anymore. Are you one of those people? What are your thoughts on work? Are you in a position kind of like me where you don't have to work unless you want to? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, give me a thumbs up. And I'll catch you next video. Peace.